Okay, Tara. So now let's take a look at your research. And okay, so let's take a look at your research. What were you able to come up with? What kind of ideas, maybe some research that assisted you in developing some strategies to use within your classroom?
One day I went and I observed one of my colleagues, and I seen the use of Starfall and how she used it to let the kids come up and interact with the computer and change the letters so that way they can blend the words.
Okay, so can you describe Starfall for me for a minute?
So it's just a website that the kids can go on that's at their level where they can make new words, and it's like a game where they can make words.
Oh, seems like a lot of fun. Great. And how did that work out for you?
The kids really love it. It's something that they look forward to doing, so it makes the learning fun.
Now, is that a website that they can also utilize at home?
And they can also use it in the computer lab. That's the website that they get on in.
Wonderful. Sounds like a lot of fun. Great. Now, is there anything else that maybe you have found?
I've also talked to colleagues, and I've looked and researched online at different ways that and statistics of helping kids to learn to blend and segment and the importance of it in order for them to read.
Okay, and can you tell me a little bit more about those things that you found?
Okay, so when I went online and I researched, I was able to find different strategies that I can use. So like arm spelling, finger spelling, just different ways that I can teach the kids to give them a different experience and different learning style. And then I also, I talked to a colleague and I found like that I can use more technology like PowerPoints and things like that. And also like linker cubes, if you write the letters on them, and then they can change the letters and read the words. And also word wheels and things like that. And that all those things are building blocks, and if they don't understand the blending and segmenting, then they can't read and write CVC words, and they are not able to write sentences because they can't sound out the words to write them down.
Great. So it sounds like all of these instructional strategies that you've come up with will help to build some stepping stones for the students so they can become fluent readers.
Correct.
Is that correct? Good. Okay. Well, now let's look and see. You also stated here that you observed a colleague. What did you see that colleague did in particular that is beneficial for you?
When she used the website Starfall, and she used word wheels and let the kids manipulate things and go actually and use her teacher computer and change the different words, and the kids all together, they chorally read the different words and sounded them out. And I thought that was a good strategy to use.
Okay, so that sounds like that strategy is really going to help with student engagement.
Right.
And that's one of your standards, so that's great to incorporate that. Now, what about your formal assessments?
When I looked at my formal assessment, I noticed that I have about 10, 11 students that I need to move over to the proficient band, and I understand that that's a third of my class, and I feel like it's really important in order to move them over so that way they can be ready for first grade.
Okay, so looking at the long-term goal, I see. What are they expected to do or be able to, how are they expected to perform by the end of kindergarten to be prepared or better prepared for first grade?
They have to be able to, because in first grade they're not read a story, they actually have to read along and read the stories. So if they have the book in front of them and they have to actually read it, if they can't blend and segment, they're not going to be able to read the words that are in front of them.
Okay, so it sounds like you're on a great path here. Now, I know we have all this research here. Now, thinking about your at-risk students, what do you think you might have to do to help those students?
I think that they really enjoy the use of technology and things that they can actually see and hear that make them think in a different way. And it also relates to the way that they learn things at home, like with the use of video games and things. It gives them something that is electronic.
Right. That makes a great connection to utilize something at school that they're very interested in at home. Wonderful. Okay, Tamara, it seems like you've come up with a variety of instructional strategies to utilize within your lesson. But now let's take a look at your focus students.
Okay.
I see that you have 3 here. You want to choose, tell me more about your English learner, a student from your special populations, and then just a student choice, one that you would really like to focus on for any reason.
Right. Okay, so I chose the first student is my English learner. She's a student that it's a little bit harder to get engaged, so I really want to focus on her because I need her to be engaged, and I already have to focus on her a lot because she's easily off task. And she is very capable, so I know that she can get there. So it's more of a challenge for me also.
Okay. What level is she at in her?
Right now she's at below basic.
She's below basic in the classroom.
Right.
Now, what about her proficiency level?
She's at a level 3, so she's at the intermediate level.
Okay, so thinking about her being at level 3, what do you think that she's going to need more of based upon her language development?
I think more realia, things that are hands-on, things that she can see, things that she can actually do, so like the arm spelling.
So what I have is for your English learners focus student, you're going to focus a little bit more on realia, hands-on, things that she can do like arm spelling that will be interactive.
Right.
Now tell me a little bit more about your special population student.
He is just starting speech, so with him it's just a lot of repetition, repeating things over and over, and having him repeat them and saying them correctly. And the same things that I feel work for English learners will also help him.
So I see that the student needs to practice his speech. Do you have any areas of focus as far as speech development? Are there particular sounds? Is it just speech in general, vocabulary?
It's G's and K's.
His G's and his K's. So that's really something that you're going to want to focus on, and maybe enunciating those sounds during the lessons. And I really love how you want to also incorporate the English learner strategies with this student, because it is beneficial and you can utilize it with both focus students.
Right.
Now, you have a student of choice. And what student have you decided to choose for your choice student?
She is a student that also speaks another language, but she's not identified as an EL. She's very bright, but also with her, getting her engaged is important. And she's a student that I know can be higher if she applies herself more.
Okay, so what I have here is she's pretty bright. You do want to focus on engagement. Can you elaborate a little bit more on what you mean by engagement?
Just keeping her attention.
So more of a challenge.
Right.
To keep her challenged. Okay. So in comparison with the English learner and the special population student, this would be at the opposite extreme.
Right.
For engagement. So what other language did she speak?
Filipino, so.
Okay. That's also important because you might be able to look for some cognates that might assist with keeping her engaged, because she can make those connections.
Right.
Okay. Wonderful. Now, you mentioned that this student knows another language but is not considered an English learner. What can you tell me about that student that doesn't categorize her as an English learner?
It's just that her primary language is English. It's not the Filipino language.
So was it spoken at home, maybe, to her, and so she didn't develop the English language, or?
I think they focus more on English than the other language.
Okay. That helps.